Great. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Coastal and Deltaic Solutions on the beautiful Louisiana day. We brought the heat for you, but we do have fans outside, so not to worry. We are incredibly excited to host everyone here in Baton Rouge and on the water campus for the inaugural 10 Across Water Summit. My name is Beverly Haydell. Some of you guys have gotten a lot of emails from me over the past couple of weeks. I apologize. I'll be serving as the kind of master of ceremonies for today. We have a very busy and jam-packed agenda, so you will not see me up here talking much. We want to get right into the substance of our panels. I think we have an amazing lineup of panelists and a lot of interesting information to cover today. So thank you so much for being here. I do want to take a moment before we get started to go over a couple of housekeeping and logistical items. I'll be brief. First of all, I'd like to thank our two lead sponsors for this event. Without them, it certainly would not have been possible to put this event on. The first is Visit Baton Rouge. We have Paul Arrigo here. They are a huge champion for our city and work very closely with our mayor. So thank you so much, Paul, for being here today. The second sponsor is CSRS. I believe we have Mike Sanji and Tim Barfield here today, somewhere in the room. Thank you so much. They'll be sponsoring our lunch today out on the beautiful dock overlooking the Mississippi River, so we're very grateful to have them as a sponsor as well. A couple of housekeeping items. I know that this is a two-day conference. You guys have full-time jobs, and some of you will need to be on your cell phones and checking email throughout the event. I wanted to let folks know that we do have Wi-Fi access in here. If you look on the attendee list sitting in front of you, we have the network and the code there. We also have a workroom that is fully set up for folks to go in there if you need to get on your computer at some point during the day. It's right here to my left, and feel free to go in there at any point, either during the sessions or in between sessions. The restrooms are located right when you get off the elevator if you need to find your way there. We also will have refreshments in the room where you got breakfast, so if you need to get up, get water, get snacks, feel free to go there. For our speakers who are in the room, if I could ask you 10 minutes before your scheduled panel to gather in the media room, that's right past the workroom. That way we can get everyone mic'd up, and as I said, we have a very jam-packed agenda today, so we're gonna hope to keep things moving along very quickly. And last, we have a small gift for everyone who's in attendance today. It's a water bottle and a beautiful book that depicts a lot of great coastal images from Louisiana. You may not want to pick that up today and cart it around all day. Feel free to take it with you on your way out tomorrow, but I know that some people are only able to attend the summit for one day, so we've laid them all out in the room where you got breakfast. Feel free to take that at any point during the summit before you head out. I'd like to start off today by welcoming our governor, Governor John Bel Edwards, to give a few opening remarks about the summit. For those of you who are not from Louisiana, Governor Edwards grew up in Amite, Louisiana, which is a small town in South Louisiana near Hammond, for those of you who know that area. He's one of 8 children. He graduated from West Point and served 8 years as an airborne ranger on active duty with the United States Army. He went on to graduate Order of the Coif from LSU Law School and set up a law practice in his hometown of Amite. In 2008, he was elected to the Louisiana State Legislature in the House of Representatives, where he served for 8 years until being elected as governor in November of 2015. Since taking office, Governor Edwards has been a committed partner in many ways to the work that's being done here on the water campus. First of all, the state owns a significant portion of the land that makes up the water campus. They've been a very amazing partner to both BRAF and commercial properties, and also the city in this project. This building that you're sitting in today would not have been possible without both the state and Governor Edwards' participation, as well as Mayor Broom and the city of Baton Rouge. In addition to being a committed partner on the water campus, the governor has also been a committed partner in the work that's being done at the Water Institute of the Gulf. And we have an entire panel where we'll be talking about that work, so you'll learn a lot more about what's happening here inside this building. But Governor Edwards has been committed to the implementation of the state's coastal master plan and ensuring that we find ways to solve the problems that we're facing along our coast, and not just any solutions that are grounded in science and the work that's being done here at the Water Institute. So we're very appreciative of your continued partnership, Governor Edwards, and look forward to hearing your remarks.
Good morning, and thank all of you for being here in Baton Rouge, and especially for those of you who've traveled here from out of state. Thank you so much for joining us. And what better place to talk about water than at the Water Institute overlooking the Mississippi River. And I especially want to thank Arizona State University, the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, and the Water Institute on the Gulf for hosting this event. You know, there's all sorts of challenges that we face in common across Interstate 10. Just last week, we hosted really a summit from folks across the globe to deal with human trafficking, which is another challenge we have because of Interstate 10 that runs from Los Angeles to Jacksonville. But I really appreciate the opportunity today to talk more about water management. And I want to thank former HUD Secretary and Mayor of San Antonio, Henry Cisneros, for being here with us today, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. And Mary Landrieu, our former, there you are, Mary, thank you very much. And you all are going to hear from our mayor, Sharon, Weston, Broom, from here in Baton Rouge in just a moment. But Mayor, thank you very much for being here and for all of your leadership. You know, you only have to look right out the window to know that Louisiana is a water-rich state. Our location and natural resources have long held important roles in the history of our nation. In fact, that's why this part of our country was so sought after, and it changed hands so often. But just a little bit of trivia, where you sit today was not part of the Louisiana Purchase. Many of you don't know that, but we'll get into that some other time. But that river was, but not here. Our rivers and bayous help carve Louisiana's unique culture and make us critical to the movement of commodities and goods, both into, out of, and around the country. And in fact, almost 2/3 of our nation drains down that river and out into the Gulf of Mexico. 60% of the grain that is exported in this country, for example, right out of that river. And if you look at the port complex that we have from that bridge south to the Mississippi, to the mouth of the Mississippi River, it is the largest port complex in the hemisphere. So that's what water means to Louisiana, that and so much more. But as beneficial as these natural resources are, sometimes in Louisiana, we actually have too much water, believe it or not, which is probably the exact opposite issue that you might face in Arizona. But water management, the root of that is the same. And I was very surprised a few weeks ago when some folks from Israel came and asked me to go and visit Israel sometime late this fall, and they asked me to bring experts on water management. And it'll just show you how tied together our globe is on these particular issues. So we do have too much water. In fact, in 2016, 56 of our 64 parishes were declared major federal disasters because of floods. It was just an awful year for floods, but that'll tell you some of the challenges that we have here in Louisiana. So we need to learn to better prepare for, manage, and capitalize on things that we're doing here at the Water Institute. This March, the Corps of Engineers, and I just want to give you this for a frame of reference, because the river was higher than we wanted it to be. This March, the Corps of Engineers went down to the Bonnet Spillway and opened the spillway so that 200,000 cubic feet of water per second left the Mississippi River, went through the spillway into Lake Pontchartrain to relieve pressure on the levees in New Orleans. That made the spillway the 8th largest river in the country while it was open, and you could barely notice the impact it had on the Mississippi River as it moved through New Orleans. And hurricane season approaches. It'll be here on June 1st, and while we're preparing, we're praying that we don't get a hurricane this year. But it really doesn't take a hurricane to cause us issues here in Louisiana. It can be an afternoon thunderstorm. And in fact, the floods in 2016, they weren't named storms that we watched come across the Gulf of Mexico. They were more of the thunderstorm variety that just stayed in place for a couple of days and dropped a tremendous amount of rain. So, and as a coastal state, we're also aware of the Gulf of Mexico's encroachment inland. You know, we've actually lost over 1,900 square miles of land to the Gulf since the 1930s. And we could lose an additional 2,000 to 4,000 square miles of land over the next 50 years. So in Louisiana, we are in a race against time. We don't know when the next storm is going to come. We can't predict the next flood with precision, but we do know that we are threatened by water here in many ways, and that what we are doing is important. And we have to do everything that is within our power to change the narrative. We've recently begun an effort to better coordinate our approach to riverine and cloudburst flooding so that our response and planning can cut across state agencies and political boundaries almost as easily as the water can. And we continue to lead the nation in our response to the coastal crisis. And our coastal crisis is a confluence of many things. It's sea level rise, it's subsidence, it's coastal erosion, and it's upland and riverine flooding, all of which impact our coast. And much of the work that we're doing is happening right here at the water campus. So that's another reason why it's really important that we gather here today. And what we've created here is a very high-level scientific research park with CPRA, the LSU Center for River Studies, the Water Institute of the Gulf, which is housed here in the Center for Coastal and Deltaic Solutions. More progress is being made right here on the banks of Mississippi River on this campus than anywhere else in our country. And there are probably few places in the world that match what's being done on this location. And I believe soon we will have developed the expertise, the experience to lead the world, not just this country, on issues related to water management. And I believe this expertise is an exportable commodity that will be in demand, growing demand across the next several decades at least. And I really can't wait for you to see later the interactive state-of-the-art model of the lower Mississippi River that we have over in the LSU Center for River Studies, and I know you're going to see that later today. It is truly a marvel. But that model isn't just here to impress people, though it is impressive. It's an important tool that we're using to carry out Louisiana's coastal master plan. That master plan is science-driven, as Beverly told you. It's comprehensive. It's an integrated approach to coastal land loss and flood risk and protection. It is an ambitious plan that envisions investing $50 billion over 50 years to both restore and protect Louisiana's coast. But it is an honest plan based on science, and it depicts the consequences of inaction. And that clarity and focus helps us to implement projects that represent the wisest investments possible in terms of reducing risk and building and sustaining land. But bold plans do cost money. The research and progress would not be possible without a strong commitment from the state and the work of our partners both in the private sector and in Washington. They understand, as all of you do, that we are in this together. We're not only committed to saving Louisiana's coast, we hope the work being done here will help build more robust communities throughout the world. And while I hope you're able to take the best practices from us, we will also be looking to the expertise that you bring to the table. And together, let's build a more resilient future for all of our communities. And I want to thank you again for being here today. And I wish you a great stay here, and I hope this conference will be very successful for everyone concerned. And it is my pleasure now to bring up to you so you can hear from our mayor, Mayor Sharon Weston Broom. Thank you all.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning, everyone. It is a delight to be here at the water campus, which is one of my favorite places to frequent these days. As you can see, the Water Campus is a public-private partnership among the state of Louisiana, among our great city of Baton Rouge, LSU, the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, and the Baton Rouge Area Foundation. And it's partnerships like these that create economic development opportunities, and they also let us take on our state and the world's most significant challenges and changes. Behind us, you will see the old Baton Rouge Municipal Dock. It was built 90 years ago for $550,000, just imagine. Now, the last time the dock moved goods from ocean-going ships to trucks was in the year 1968. Of course, I was just a young child then. But that's when a more modern port opened across the river to become among the largest in the United States. And so the dock came back to life after we formed a partnership. Our city entered into a long-term lease for the property so that the Baton Rouge Area Foundation could build this incredible state-of-the-art facility and the campus that surrounds it. As a city, we remain a committed partner to the Water Campus for a variety of reasons. One, it is an economic driver. Thousands of scientists and engineers and their support staff will work on this campus. Two, the discoveries and solutions from the campus will position Baton Rouge and Louisiana among only a few leaders that are producing water management science and solutions. Three, and the most important, the people here are taking on the biggest challenge to face the planet: global warming that is causing rising seas, which affect more than 3 billion people who live near coast around the world. The solutions are already being shared around the world. Scientists for the Water Institute, for instance, are working with peers in the Netherlands, Vietnam, and Bangladesh. After the 1,000-year floods that drowned parts of Baton Rouge in 2016, they developed a model for predicting flooding neighborhoods by neighborhoods, which can be used by coastal cities to rethink planning and for people to evacuate with their possessions days before the waters will rise. And so we are extremely honored to host all of you here in the great capital city of Baton Rouge this week. And I hope that we will find ways to work with many of you in the future as we support the important work being done here at the Water Institute of the Gulf and throughout the Water Campus. Thank you for being here.